Hey y'all, I'm Wheezy with Prissy Pearls and Outlaws Customized, and I wanted to show y'all today how to make a sublimation tumbler, also known as a sub tumbler. What this is a permanently baked image into the tumbler. And this right here is not coated with just like regular paint. This is a special paint for sublimation. So what you're going to need is, you're going to need a regular sub tumbler. And this was a special order for sublimation. You need a image of whatever you decide. Even if you wanted to put your family on there, you can do that as well. You need to print it on some type of sublimation paper, which is, I use A-Sub personally. And you need sublimation ink, which is a special ink. I'm using Cosmos. And the technique that I use, you need painter's tape. You'll need a sheet of not notebook paper, but copy paper. You'll need some kind of high temp tape, which is sublimation tape. That's what I have here. And then you'll also need a convection oven. I don't bake my tumblers inside because it gives off too much scent. I have a table right outside my office that I set that on and plug up from the inside and bake out there. It only takes, I don't have my time right here in front of me, but it only takes in my oven about 4 minutes and 50 seconds probably. I think that's what I have my timer set at. But you'll find that every single tumbler, or not tumbler, but oven is different of how much temp the cups need and don't need. This right here is just a plastic scraper, and you'll come to find out that this right here it'll change the whole outlook on sub tumblers. I think that's actually why I started catching the hang of it, because I've probably messed up just as many as I've sold. It's really easy to mess these up until you catch the hang of it. And I had pretty much give up on these things until I had really finally just caught on one day, and I was really upset because it was getting the best of me. But I'm going to tilt my camera down here to where you can see a little bit better. So I'm going to start here with wrapping the tumbler. And I leave my top rim just a little white out to where you can still see it. So, and you just have to kind of play with them until you get them right where you want them. And try to get these seams as close to even as you can. Once I get one even, the other one wants to mess up on me. Sorry if y'all can't see me. I'll just hold it up here. Okay, so I'm going to have to push that up just a hair. Then I pushed it up a little too much. My lap works great for these things. I'm not used to working on a table with them. So there, if you look, I've got my seams just barely touching there. And now I'm going to take my high temp tape right here. And I am going to tape this down the side. And I know a lot of people like to tell you to take and tape them really tight. And I'm sure that their method that they use, you may have to tape it a little bit tighter. But I don't tape mine extremely tight to the point that my knuckles are blue. And to talk a little bit while I'm just kind of taping here about the convection oven, I try to keep my temperature around 350. 350 seems to be the magic spot for these tumblers. And like I say, I want to say my time is 450, but every single one is going to be different. And if you notice, I kept noticing whenever I was doing solid black images, well, images with solid black backgrounds, that they would turn out brown, but I was overcooking them, because most people tell you to bake them for around 7 or 8 minutes, but that was too much for my oven. So I started baking them a little bit less time, and then I figured out the right time just the perfect sweet spot for my oven. And I'm just laying down the creases here. So next I'm going to take my paper, just my plain sheet of paper, and it's going to probably overlap my ends a little bit, but it's not going to matter much there. And then I'm going to pull this side in, put one more piece of this tape on, just right there. And if you want to put another one on that side, go right ahead. But I'm going to take my painter's tape here. And I'm going to start at my top rim. That's not wanting to lay out right for me. There we go. And all I'm doing is just getting that decently tight. I know I've tried the shrink wraps and all, and I mean, they're really cool, don't get me wrong. And that end is overlapped pretty good, but I didn't mean for it to be quite that high. So what I'm going to do here, since my end is so, or my top rim is so high, I'm going to just pull that down on itself. If you notice, I'm not putting that inside of the lip of the tumbler, but I'm just putting it down over itself in there. That way that stickiness, whenever it does get hot in the oven, doesn't melt to the lip of my rim in there. So I'm going to keep going down the tumbler and doing this. But the shrink wrap is really cool, but it just wasn't working for me. So I decided to try this. And once I got figured out what worked best for me, that's what I've stuck with, and I've had pretty good luck with it so far. And if you keep an eye on where your seam is up under this, not this last seam we made, but the first seam where we taped it all the way down there, try to keep an eye on that seam, and that's where your plastic scraper is going to come in handy toward the end. It just seems to really lay that crease down to where you don't have any ghosting. And ghosting is where it kind of just rolls up from the base while it's baking. And this is not as even as I would like it to be, but I'm not too much concerned over that part personally. But I can see right here where my original, yeah, that is my, yeah, because there's my last seam right there. So this is my original seam. So I'm going to take this plastic scraper and I'm just going to kind of run it down until I can see it really good. And that is just, it's like it just smooths it out together with the other tape that's under it. And sometimes if I feel like I'm not getting it well enough, I'll take the hard part, well, this is hard, but not quite, it's flexible a little bit. But I'll just go down that seam, and I've done a couple others here today. If you notice, see that seam, how perfect you can see that through there? That's what I like to see, which this one right here you can see very well, even though it's not quite as smooth. I like to get them a little smoother like that, but I was using my lap, like I said earlier. Using your lap, you can get it a little bit easier than holding it up in front of the camera, but I wanted to share with you guys. So give me a second to get my convection oven heated up, and we'll go. I'm outside and I started videoing and it wasn't working quite right. So if you see, I also have a thermometer inside of my convection oven, and I like to keep it between 300 and 350. I feel pretty confident in those temperatures. And I set it in there face up like this right here, to where of course the drink part is up, and I have my timer going over here. I have 2 minutes and 55 seconds, or 50 something seconds left. I actually am baking this on 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So I'll tune back in whenever it's time to take it out and unwrap it. Before my timer goes off, I just wanted to explain the settings here. I have the Hamilton Beach convection oven from Walmart. So I keep mine on stay on whenever it's plugged up. Make sure you have it on convection. And although if you look in here, it's on right at 400. It's a little bit warmer than I want it, but although this is under 350, know that that's not always the temperatures that are inside. So my time's almost up. Make sure you also have some kind of mitten or something that you can take your stuff out the oven with. So I have a little trash bucket set up here just so that I can unwrap this on camera outside. So after this baked for 4 minutes and 40 seconds, let's see what our outcome is. And just be careful that you don't get burned with this because it is very, very hot. Look how pretty that is already. And if you wait, I always wondered why people didn't wait until they just cooled in order to peel them. It'll cause the paper to stick to the image. So look how pretty that is. But anyways, that's how you make a sublimation tumbler. I hope y'all enjoyed. Bye.